Hey friends, welcome to today's video. Today is going to be the greatest day of your life. You know, I love inspirational stories, and I love them from people who have achieved great things by following their dreams no matter what. Now, how often have you been told no, or how often have you been made to feel that you're not pretty enough, or that you're not strong enough, or that you're not smart enough to do something? I'm going to tell you right now, that is a complete and total bunch of crap. You know, imagine what the world would be like if there was no Walt Disney. Imagine a world without Star Wars or without Beethoven symphonies. Do you know that all of these people faced numerous rejections and all of them were told you can't? And you know what? They refuse to listen to negative people, and we have amazing things from them today. And I'm saying you can do the exact same thing. It doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter where you think you can go. It doesn't matter how smart you think you are or how smart somebody else thinks you are. If you have a dream, a goal, and a desire, you move towards that goal. The way science works is the same way our goals work. Let me explain something to you. You set a destination on a map. Let's say I want to go to Omaha, Nebraska. Okay, let's just say. Now, if I want to get to Omaha, it doesn't matter if I walk, if I ride a bike, if I ride in a car, if I fly in a plane. I have a known destination. I could crawl. And as long as I'm moving towards that destination, I will inevitably get there. Do you know that our goals and our dreams work exactly the same way? You set a goal, and it doesn't matter if you walk towards that goal, you run towards that goal. If you don't have the ability to achieve that goal from a knowledge point right now, it doesn't matter. As long as you are doing things, garnering the knowledge, moving in the direction of that goal, like setting a destination on a map, as long as you continue to walk or move towards that goal, you will inevitably get there. And it doesn't matter what your current understanding or your current results are right now, because current results are not indicative of future success. I tell you, there's a lot of people who filed bankruptcy, have been in financial turmoil, and they've changed the entire world. It happens all the time. So where you are right now has no bearing on where you have the ability to go. You just get up and you get moving there. And as long as you don't quit along the way, you know, if I'm moving towards Omaha, Nebraska, and I stop off in Lincoln, well, you know what? I'm never going to get to Omaha if I stay in Lincoln. But just because I stopped in Lincoln doesn't mean I can't still continue to go to Omaha and get there. It's the same thing with your goals. You might have had some stopping points along the way, some things in the past that have held you up and made you change your mind about goals or aspirations you had for your future life. I'm telling you that was just a pit stop. You're in training. Wherever you stopped is where you needed to stop, because you know what? We have no idea what it takes to get to where we're going to go. You can put a plan together. Plans are great for project management and all that when we're talking about small things. I'm talking about big things. I'm talking about your dreams, your goals, your desires. It's great to have a plan for those things, but we have no idea what needs to occur in the universe in order for us to achieve our goals. And I want to talk about a few people who also had absolutely no idea what it was going to take to get to where they went, but you're going to recognize the names. You're going to recognize it as an inspirational point to take forward and help you to understand that regardless of where you are today, you can go anywhere. You can be anything. Anything. Absolutely anything. And that's the way it is. Sorry, I get a little worked up because I just believe in you. And it works for every single person every single time. If I can just get you to understand this point by sharing some examples with you, I will have done what I wanted to do as a part of this video today, because I care about you and I want to see you move forward. All right? Let's talk about some of these people. Wayne Gretzky. Recognize the name? Do you know Wayne Gretzky has been quoted as saying, and he said this, "It's kind of ironic when I broke in at 17. I was told I was too small, too slow, and I would never make the NHL." Do you know he's now recognized as one of the greatest hockey players in the history of hockey? He's in the Hall of Fame. He still holds numerous records. And if you've ever watched this gentleman play hockey, it is truly inspirational and amazing. And do you know people told him he couldn't? But you know what? He moved on and he did it anyway. And it's just amazing. His story is incredible. You know, I mentioned this gentleman earlier, George Lucas. Did you know that he spent 4 years sending his script for Star Wars around to various studios? And he racked up way more no's than yeses, but he never, ever quit. Did you know that the current owners of Star Wars, Disney, Universal Studios, and United Artists, all turned him down? And finally, it was an executive at 20th Century Fox who had seen American Graffiti and was impressed by that and decided based on that to give George Lucas a chance on his film Star Wars. Did you know the film was made for $11 million and was released in 1977? Since then, I'm just talking about the original Star Wars trilogy, the first 3 movies, not all the stuff that's been done since then, has grossed over $2.4 billion. That's billion with a B. And you know what? If George Lucas would have listened to the no's and believed what people told him about his dreams, his goals, and his desires, he wouldn't have changed the world with one of the most popular franchises in the history of the world. It's amazing. You can do exactly the same things. When people tell you no, we just need to change that in our minds to it's just a door. They said no, the next person's going to say yes. And if the next person doesn't say yes, then the next person will. And if they don't, the next person will. But damn it, you never quit. You just can't quit. Keep moving towards that destination, that point on the map that you've set. And I'm telling you, the way science and the way the universe works, as long as you are moving towards that destination, you can do nothing but get there. It works when we're traveling from place to place. It works with your goals, your dreams, and your desires. There isn't 2 separate sciences out there, okay? There's not a science for goals and dreams and a science for the physical world. There aren't separate understandings. Everything works in exactly the same way. You know, we have no idea what the gestation period of a seed is, right? We just know we put the seed in the ground and it will automatically, without our assistance, attract all the things that it needs to grow. And as long as we water it, it will become whatever plant is in line with what that seed actually is. Your goals are exactly the same way. You set a goal, you begin to work towards that goal, and we have no idea what needs to happen in the universe in order for that goal to come to fruition. But as long as we're keeping it in our supercomputer and we're constantly walking and moving towards that destination, we will get there and that goal will come to fruition. I guarantee it. It works every single time for every single person that utilizes that knowledge. Did you know that Einstein was once considered an unteachable fool by his teachers? Can you believe that? You know, a friend of mine, Michael Jordan, has a famous quote, and I just love it. Did you know that he was cut from his high school basketball team? So imagine if Michael Jordan would have taken that initial failure, said, hey, I'm not good enough to play high school basketball, I'm probably not good enough for college, and I'll never make the pros, right? Well, you know what? He said, I've failed over and over again in my life, and that's why I succeed. Because Michael understands something that's very, very important. No's are just a door. And when somebody closes a door, you open it back up and you walk through, because that's the way doors work. And when we hear no, we take no with a grain of salt. Okay? You might need to make a few changes here, and we can learn a little bit about no. Why did they say no? But don't dwell on it. You have a dream, a goal, or a desire. You move towards that, and you just keep going. You don't quit. You never quit. I'm telling you what, you quit. Quitting is easy. It's the easiest thing in the world to do, is to quit, to give up on your dreams. And frankly, that's what all non-risk takers want you to do. And you know what? It's really too bad that some people quit, because I think we're losing out on a lot of amazing things that could be coming forth in the world. That business you're going to start could help people in a certain way. Maybe down the road you translate that business into a nonprofit and you help people. There's so many things you can do with initiative. Just take the initiative and keep moving forward. Do you know, if you don't quit, it makes you special, because most people do. So being a non-quitter is a badge of honor. I wish I could send you a sticker. You put it right here and it says, I don't quit. Because you know what? It makes you a special human being. People who don't quit are a special breed. They're amazing. People who have the ability to hear no and just keep pushing forward. You're a bulldozer and you're going through that forest of no's. And I tell you what, when you get to the other side, you're going to have created a beautiful path for others to observe. Inspiration for others. You know, let's keep talking about some of the inspiring things that I wanted to present to you here. I have a friend, Bob Parson, and he's the founder and CEO of GoDaddy.com. I have a lot of respect for him because he used to have a blog, and I would read his blog pretty regularly, and it became readily apparent to me very quickly that he had to overcome a lot in pursuit of his dreams. But one thing he never did is he never, ever, ever quit. You know, he said, he's quoted as saying, I spent very little time looking back or feeling sorry for myself, you know, and it's true, 100% true. The reason I really like him, how I met him, when he first started his company, I was doing work for the state of Colorado, and I was helping them with their welfare infrastructure and doing some project management to help the citizens of Colorado because I love this state. And if you know anything about the work we do, we actually do project and program management for worthy causes, and then we give the money away to charity. Okay, so I know it sounds, it keeps me a little bit busy, but it's also truly amazing and it's fulfilling for my life. Now, one day I had decided I was going to start a medical supply company. And I know there's a lot of billionaires out there right now, Bezos, Mark Cuban, who are trying to get into pharmaceuticals and medical supplies. The one thing we don't think about with people such as myself who have a disability, you know, people like me with a disability, we have an extra challenging existence. We have to pay for food, we have to pay for rent like everybody else, we have car payments, we have car insurance, we have all the wonderful things, we have amazing parking. I gotta tell you, I love that parking. But but I gotta tell you, you know, it's we also have other things in our lives. We have medical bills. We have medical supplies that facilitate our lives so that we can be functional. There's a lot of things we need depending on what our disability is, and it can be a struggle. So I wanted to start a medical supply company that would provide medical supplies to individuals at a wholesale or even greater discounted cost just to help people out. And as a result, I needed a website. So I facilitated the purchase of a website name that I came up with. It just so happened this was a name that was currently unavailable and somebody had actually already owned it. But I wanted it and I kept trying, and then one day when I was driving home in my car, I was working on my cell phone and I actually was able to purchase this URL that I dreamed of for my website. This was an entrepreneurial dream that I had at the time, starting this business as a side business, but still something that I was very interested in doing. And I just by chance garnered this purchase. It completed, and Bob called me up and he said, Doug, I just wanted to congratulate you on your recent purchase of such and such URL, and I actually still own the URL. I haven't sold it. But the URL had previously been purchased for $380,000. And just so happened they didn't renew the URL. When the GoDaddy system had released it back to the public, I got it right on point when it was released. You couldn't have timed it any better, and I had just bought a previously purchased $380,000 URL for a $12 GoDaddy fee. And I now own that URL. It was just such a lucky experience. But Bob called me up and congratulated me and said, hey, I just wanted to let you know that we noticed this, and congratulations. And it turns out that he's an incredible and an amazing person that has a lot to offer the world. And this company, I'm not endorsing GoDaddy. I don't endorse anybody or sell anything. I'm just here to help you and may help you to be successful. But I had to have a lot of respect for GoDaddy and the fact that they took time out to give me a call and say, hey, we noticed you. And, and I told him about the idea that I had. He thought that was a great idea. And it was really good to have another successful individual pat me on the back and say, hey, look, if you ever need anything, give me a call, and good luck with your dream. And, I kept moving that forward. We did inevitably open up that medical supply store online. After COVID, we unfortunately closed down, and it's currently on respite, but it's something that I probably will bring up again in the future as one of our entrepreneurial efforts, and get back on track. I almost said twack. Get back on track and down the road to assisting people with medical needs, people who need medical supplies. We have a huge elderly population. I'm fortunate. I don't have to be in a wheelchair anymore. I'm actually able to get up and walk around. I can use my left arm for certain things, but I'm not going to be writing any books or anything with this hand anytime soon, right? It's just one of those things. I know where I'm at. I'm comfortable with it. I do engage in humor about my disability because it's just how I deal with it. But it's something that I live with every day. I'm lucky I don't have to be on any medications or utilize any medical supplies necessarily to facilitate my life. But I do have one little thing that I use, but other than that, I tell you what, I'm actually very lucky, babe, from where I came to where I am now, and sometimes it hurts my heart a little bit to see others struggle. And so what I want to do is I just want to get back into that business some point in time, but I'm totally off track now, and I'm not talking about what I want to talk about, which is about you, your goals and dreams and desires. Now, did you know that Beethoven's music teacher once told him he was a hopeless composer? And we've talked about this elderly gentleman, Colonel Sanders. I love this guy. He's fantastic. He was told no over 1,000 times before he heard a yes. And it took him over a year to get that first yes. And you know what? He lived in his car the entire time because he was traveling around the country, going from restaurant to restaurant, hearing no, 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 no for an entire year until somebody said yes. And you know what? Nobody doesn't not know who Kentucky Fried Chicken is today. It didn't matter how old Colonel Sanders was, and it didn't matter that people didn't believe in his goals, his dream, or his desire to open a fast food chain or share his chicken recipe with the world. He just did it, and he never quit. Look where it happened. He had complete and total success. There's no difference between Colonel Sanders and you or I. We're all humans. We're all dealing with the same physical faculties. We all have a brain, a heart, 2 lungs, 2 arms, 2 legs. We all are dealing with the exact same physical capacity. We just need to all be dealing with the same train of thought. And that train of thought needs to be, I don't care how many times I hear no. I don't care who believes in me or doesn't believe in me. And wait, I want to retract that. I don't care who doesn't believe in me. I always care about those who do believe in me, and I appreciate that because you know what? There are people in my life that lift me up on a daily basis, and without their support, I don't think I would be able to do half the things that I do. So I want to take that back and not say that. But you know what? If you don't believe in my dreams and desires and you don't think I can do something, I don't give a damn. I'm going to keep going and I'm going to keep moving forward and you're not going to stop me. You ever watched the first video I did on this YouTube channel? I'm telling you what, it was horrible. I think I always tell people I was drunk. I wasn't drunk, but my God, I was just scared to death. I could hardly talk. And look what we're doing now. We're engaging. We're doing daily videos. We're talking about success. I'm a totally different person in front of this camera than I was 4 months ago. You can do anything in your life and start out and not be, nobody's good on day one. Nobody. I don't care who you are. Michael Jordan didn't go out and dribble a basketball between his legs and run and jump from the free throw line and slam dunk and all that. That didn't all happen on day one. You know what? And even though he had some things he needed to overcome, he was cut from the high school basketball team. So what? That didn't faze him. He kept going. He ended up becoming an icon. You can do the exact same thing. We just don't take no as a response that we're going to be willing to accept. It's okay, I'll leave. Hey, you tell me no, that's fine. I'm going to go somewhere where I know that they're going to say yes, and they're going to value me, because I don't want to be anywhere I'm not valued. If you don't see the value in what I have to offer and what I'm presenting to you, I'm going to go talk to somebody who does, because you know what? Me and that person are going to have a hell of a lot of success together. We're going to become great friends. We're going to make incredible amounts of money, and we're going to live the life that we want to live, not the life that you think I can live. And that's something I had to overcome as a disabled person, because when I got out of college, I had this fantastic, amazing, high-level college degree, but I also had a limp, and I was also skinny, and that was just from just my disability and some struggles I had medically. But, you know, I probably didn't look the healthiest. I definitely didn't walk the healthiest. Anytime I got nervous, my left arm would come up and do this spasticity thing where I would hold it up here like this. I can't really do that with, I probably can, you know, and, you know, I'd walk in and I'm limping and I'm all stiff, and I sit down and I have great ideas and lots of positive energy. But you know what most people saw? Most people saw me walk in and sit down. And then they knew my story, right? They knew, hey, this guy was the longest clinically documented death case in America. So then they didn't want to talk to me about my ideas. All they wanted to talk to me about was, what is it like to be dead? Everybody wants to know that. And I've never told that story yet. I know that in day 2 of this video, the initial 30-day video series I did, I mentioned, you know, that I was the longest clinically documented death case, and it's very emotional for me. But I didn't tell the out-of-body experience, the story of what happened when I died. You know, I was dead for over a half an hour. What did I experience? I've never talked about that because, you know, when I was younger, I just got tired of that overshadowing the main conversation. I don't want this channel to be about the longest clinically documented death case in America. I want it to be about you, because I care about you, and I want to share life experience and inspirational stories and ways to be better and do amazing things. I want that to be the focus. I want you to be the focus. So I don't want to continue down this road, because, you know, it's funny. To get back on track with what I was talking about, they saw me as a disabled individual. They didn't see the value that I could inevitably offer. Did you know that I was involved with software that auto-adjudicates 97% of all the healthcare claims in America? All that came from a handicap guy. 397 health insurance companies in the United States use that software to auto-adjudicate their healthcare claims and run the majority of their business operations that are claims related. But you know what? When I would initially walk into the room, there was judgment, and nobody ever gave me an opportunity to, you know, I had great ideas. We can do all these amazing things with this software. You're going to love it. But they saw me walk in, they saw me sit down. All they wanted to talk about was, you know, out-of-body experience, and then, you know, hey, I had brain damage, and, you know, nobody really gave me a chance. But I never quit. I never gave up. You know, they told me I would be dead by the age of 30. So as a result, I just lived my life like, what the hell? I'm going to be dead anyway. I smoked cigarettes. I'd had a stroke, double arterial bypass surgery. I have a scar that runs from right here all the way down. And they replaced my innominate artery and my carotid artery with some synthetic material that was truly amazing and revolutionary at the time. Do you know I've never had to have any sort of a follow-up or a change to the work that was done. The work was done by a Dr. John Edwards, and he was a Harvard-trained physician. He was an amazing individual. He became a friend of mine. He taught me a lot of amazing things. And one of the things he did teach me was to not quit. And I never did. And, you know, I laid in a hospital bed, totally paralyzed on the left side of my body. And the best doctors in the country telling me your brain damage is so extensive, we don't know that you'll be able to walk again. And they had pretty much given up on me. My mom had to fight with the insurance company to be able to get me to stay in the hospital so I could do the physical therapy that I needed to do. Meanwhile, they had to post a guard outside of my hospital room because religious people were coming up and praying over me and praying with me, and I had been advertised on the media as somebody that had died for this extensive period of time and came back to life without any sort of assistance. You know, the nurse came in, she was taking equipment off of my body, and like taking the little pasty things or whatever, and all of a sudden I just started hitting her with my arm, and things go crazy. Next thing you know, they're in there resuscitating me, and I don't know what code I was, but I was some sort of a special code in the hospital, and they all came in and started poking me, and and without realizing, hey, I'm back. I can feel all of this. Can you guys slow up a little bit? I wasn't thinking that, but I just remember it was so painful to come back to life. But, it's amazing. I've had the ability to be involved with some things that have totally changed the world. I've been friends and worked with amazing, incredible people who have done incredible things. And you know what? We just all have to move beyond that initial stigma or whatever it is where we see in people. Don't judge people. Don't judge yourself. Don't look at yourself in the mirror and say, oh, my lips are dry today, so I don't have the ability to do this, that, or the other thing. You know what? That's a bunch of crap. Every day is a new day filled with amazing possibility. You just have to go out there and get it. And I never stopped walking into those boardrooms and into those offices. Heck, I'd bring my family. We'd go do business together. In fact, if you'd done business with me in the past, you'd know that normally when I come to your office, I used to bring my family with me because I felt there's nowhere I need to go where my family can't come with. And if I'm going somewhere where my family's not welcome, I probably don't need to be there. And that's true probably for most people. If your children aren't welcome, it's probably not somewhere you really need to be. And I would travel with my family, and we traveled all over the United States. We've lived all over this country, and I helped health insurance companies to be successful with this software application. And I just never stopped going in. And eventually I got a little more comfortable. Eventually they got to know me, and they got a little more comfortable. We started working together, and we changed the whole damn industry of healthcare claims adjudication. When they were going to transfer America over to a single-payer infrastructure, I was involved with architecting the claims engine that was going to process all the healthcare claims. I was brought into that, and people didn't look at me anymore as a disabled person, or nobody asked me questions about my car accident. They got to know me as an individual because I never quit, and I never lived my life around that specific aspect. So many people will have something traumatic happen in their lives, and then they live the rest of their life telling the story about that trauma or whatever. You can move beyond that, and when you do, so will everybody else. It's amazing, but they will. They'll get beyond that. Nobody looks at me that way anymore, and even if they do, you know what? They just don't know me, and I don't care. I just keep moving forward, and I'll be there like I'm here every single day. I show up, and that's all you got to do. Show up. And another thing I wanted to mention, I'm sure you've heard of Thomas Edison and all the inventions that he had created. Now, he's actually known as one of the most prolific inventors in history. He holds 1,093 U.S. patents, as well as a lot of patents in the UK, France, and Germany. Now, did you know that when Thomas Edison, when he was 4 years old, he was sent home from school with a note? And you know what that note said? The note told his mother that she was to remove her son from school because he was too stupid to learn. And I love his mother's response. She did exactly what we've done in our house as a result of what we've experienced with our children in the public education system. She said, you know what, that's fine. She homeschooled him. I bet you didn't know that Thomas Edison was homeschooled, but he was. And she decided to teach him herself. He only had 3 months of formal schooling, yet went on to create numerous inventions like the phonograph, the record player. Did you know he invented the record player, but he was also partially deaf in one ear? He's a hero of mine. There is some controversy as to what he invented and what Nikola Tesla invented, and I love to read the stories around that. But you know what? He still managed to be successful even with a lack of support from formal education. That's amazing, right? He didn't have a college degree. He changed the world. Every time you turn the light on, you see in a dark room because he invented the light bulb. He did amazing things and invented all kinds of incredible things. We look upon him with awe as one of the most intelligent people in history, and he didn't even have a formal education. He was sent home by his teacher when he was 4 years old. How do you know what a 4-year-old has the ability to accomplish? Well, I do. I know what a 4-year-old has the ability to accomplish. If I tell that 4-year-old they're fantastic and great and fill them up with amazing positive energy, and every single time I see them, I tell them, you can do it, you're amazing, I believe in you. I listen to them and I try to understand them and continue to give them positive reinforcement. They will grow up to be an amazing human being. You can do that for yourself, even as an adult. Every time somebody comes to you with some negative crap, you change the dialogue in your mind and you turn it into positive stuff. You tell yourself, I can do this. That's okay. It doesn't matter what they say because I know I can do it. I know I'm going to be on top. And as long as you take that attitude and you continue to move forward in that way, God dang it, you'll have anything you want. I guarantee you will. I just want you to understand that. There is only one decision you have to make if you want to be successful and have everything you've ever dreamed or desired in your life. You have to make a deal with yourself that no matter what happens, you will never quit. I mean, it doesn't matter what happens, and because as long as you're moving towards that destination, it doesn't matter how many hills you have to go up to get to Omaha. It doesn't matter, how many mountains you have to climb over to get to Omaha. It really doesn't matter how many stops you have to make along the way. As long as you continue to move towards that destination, you will get there. Take, for example, Walt Disney. Now, Walt was turned down by over 100 banks. 100 bank applications he did. Can you imagine that? And he was just trying to get funding to develop Disneyland. He was also fired from his job at a newspaper for what they said was lacking ideas. Walt Disney lacked ideas. Can you believe that? If he would have listened to that crap, listen to what we would have missed out on. Have you ever been fired from a job and they gave you some feedback? You know what? Just get up and go get another job. Work where they see your value. Because, take Walt Disney, for example. He also had several bankruptcies before he was able to develop Disneyland. The guy kept failing, but he didn't quit. He just kept moving forward. Other people didn't see his vision. They didn't see what he had to offer. So you know what? He would wake up in the morning in a world that wasn't a part of the circumstance he wanted to live in. So he would create the circumstance for himself. Walt Disney created the world he wanted to live in. He didn't listen to anybody else. He just kept moving forward. He had an amazing life. He changed the world. I love going to Disneyland. And when I do, there's a little light that shines up in a window. And it's the apartment that Walt Disney lived in when he was building Disneyland. Do you know how he got out of that apartment every day? He had a fireman's pole. And it was installed. And every morning he'd get up and he'd slide down the fireman's pole. Can you imagine the motivation you would get when you just live in your childlike dream world and have everything it is that you want because you're creating it for yourself? You can have all that too. There's no difference between Walt Disney and you. He had a brain, he had a heart, he had 2 lungs. He was a human being, just like us. But here's the deal. He just never quit. He kept moving forward. You can live that exact same life, that exact same dream, and you can change the world and create things just like he did, just by continuing to move forward and never, ever, ever quit. You can never quit. Look at Fred Astaire. I love this story about Fred Astaire. My wife and I will quite often on Friday nights we'll enjoy a bottle of wine together and we'll watch old Fred Astaire movies, or if you go on YouTube, you can pull up Putting on the Ritz. Fred Astaire did a beautiful rendition and dancing to the music from Putting on the Ritz. I believe he actually sang the song while he did the dancing, and it's just wonderful. But he kept a memo over his fireplace from an MGM testing director after his first screen test that said, can't act, slightly bald, can't dance, or can dance a little. So it was can act, slightly bald, can dance a little. Hey, sounds to me like I could be as successful as Fred Astaire. You know what? I can't act. I'm more than slightly bald, and I can dance a little, right? So I mean, what if you can't listen to people and what they say? You know, this MGM testing director probably had seen thousands of people, was basing his opinion on incredible experience, so he's probably seen by his organization as an authority, and he's probably seen by many external people as an authority as well. It's a bunch of crap. Nobody is an authority on your dreams and desires and goals. The only person who's an authority on those is you. Fred Astaire knew what he was capable of, so that was a bunch of crap to him. You know what? He just kept moving forward and eventually became an icon in his industry. He's amazing. He'll never be forgotten. Still love to watch him. I love the old Madonna song, right? Ginger Rogers, Fred Astaire. You know, I just totally screwed that up. And you're going to laugh at me, but that's okay. I'm just having fun. I love this conversation because I know from my experience and for a fact of watching it occur in other people's lives that you can have the success you want. You can achieve the dreams and goals that you want to achieve. It's possible for anyone. I've watched people in the most difficult circumstances come out on top. I'm one of them. I tell you what, I had nothing going for me. I'm partially paralyzed. Half my body doesn't work. The best doctors in the country are telling me I'm never going to walk again. I'm a business success, and I do what I want to do with my life every single day. Right now, I'm helping a hospital in Brooklyn to achieve some technological success. It's changing the way they're servicing their customer base, their patients. It's helping people. And you know what? I get to do that every single morning. You know why? Because that's what I decide to do. That's what I want to do. And when the work is over, I get to give the money away to charity, and I get to continue to help people. That's what it's all about. When you wake up in the morning, if you don't find the world that you want, you go out and create the world that you desire. It happens every single time successfully with every single person that tries to do it. And you know what? If you hear no, so what? Keep moving on, keep creating. And I tell you what, inevitably you're going to have exactly what it is that you want. You know, Vince Lombardi. Have you ever heard of the Lombardi Trophy? They give it to the winner of the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl is the largest sports spectacle in the world. And Vince Lombardi is considered an icon in football. He was told by an expert that he possesses minimal football knowledge and lacks motivation. Are you kidding me? Really? That was the opinion of this expert? The guy's an icon. He went down in history as one of the most knowledgeable experts in his trade. He is amazing. If he would have listened to this so-called expert, where would he be right now? So I want you to keep in mind, it doesn't matter what the credentials are of the individual who's having the opinion. All that matters is you believe you can do it, and you keep moving towards that goal, and you never quit. And you can have it. I guarantee you, you can have anything you want in this life as long as you continue to move towards your dreams and goals. Did you know that Enrico Caruso, he is a famous opera singer? You ever heard of Caruso? He's well known. I mean, he's probably one of the most well-known male opera singers in history. He was told by his teacher that he had no voice at all and couldn't sing. Really? Okay, well, that's a nice opinion, and you know, I'm glad you closed that door, because I'm going to open it back up, as Enrico Caruso would say, and walk back through and just become one of the most amazing people that ever lived on the planet, okay? Take that, you know what I mean? And that's exactly what you have to do. You have to take that mental approach, that take that, you know what? When people tell me I can't do something, that's just motivation to go and do it. It makes me want to do it. I love no, because no gives me the opportunity to show you that I can. And you got to take that sort of a mentality when you're moving forward in life. You know, Mark Victor Hansen and Jack Canfield. You ever heard those names? That's right. They were authors of a spectacular publication called Chicken Soup for the Soul. Did you know they were turned down by over 50 book publishers before someone finally agreed to take a chance? Now, when they sat down, they came up with the idea. They solicited people to send in the stories. They didn't write the stories for themselves. They solicited somebody to review those stories and put the book together. You know what? They were going to manifest sales of 50 million copies. Now, that's a lot of thinking there. I mean, I'm a pretty good thinker myself, but when somebody tells me, hey, I'm going to come out with a book and I'm going to sell 50 million copies, you know what? I'm thinking, hey, that would be quite an achievement, and I'm never somebody to tell people no. So I would always say, hey, you know, I believe it. You can do it, absolutely. Well, you know what? They didn't write the stories or put the book together, but what they did do is they had the idea. And do you know, it was a publishing success, one of the greatest publishing successes ever in the history of literature. They sold 75 million copies. They didn't just sell the 50 they thought they were going to sell. They sold 75 million copies. It'll blow you away. So, do you think they weren't even planning on selling 75 million copies? Their goal was 50 million, and at the time people were saying 50 million's a lot of books, that's a lot of sales. I think that would be a pretty big achievement, quote unquote. You probably can't do it, right? That's what people were saying. But, you know, and do you think they knew what it was going to take to sell 75 million copies? Do you think they had some sort of a business plan in place that was going to allow them to milestone step to 75 million in sales? They had absolutely no idea that was going to happen. But what they did believe was they were going to sell 50 million copies, and that was enough energy to put out into the universe to have things work for them and be attracted to them so that they could successfully achieve their goal. And they not only achieved their goal, they blew it out of the water. I tell you what, you do 25 more in sales from a book standpoint, a book sales standpoint, above and beyond what your initial projection was, that's called success, my friend. And they had no idea that that was going to happen. You don't have to know what's going to happen in your world in order for you to achieve or accomplish your goals. You just need to set the goal, continue to walk down that path towards that goal, and you will inevitably get there. There are not two sets of sciences out there. There's not a science of success and a science of life. Science is science. The rules work in the same way for everything, regardless of what it is. You know, you plant a seed in the soil. Now without just watering the seed, that's what you do. You put it in the soil. You don't have any idea, or you don't need to know what's happening in that soil for that seed to attract all the nutrients, the moisture, everything it needs in order for it to facilitate the growth necessary to become the plant of its kind. But it just does it. Now, your goal is a seed. You're planting that seed out there in the universe. Now that you have that goal, you just need to walk down the path towards that goal knowing that it will be there once you reach the destination. You know, that's your seed. It will attract everything it needs in order for you to be successful, in order for you to have the possibilities that you want in your life. There are not two sets of sciences out there, okay? So the same science that makes the seed grow and become a healthy plant is the same science that's supporting your goals and helping you to move down the trajectory of success. Now, Abraham Lincoln, you need to watch the video I did a couple of days ago on Abraham Lincoln. It's an amazing video. And I'll tell you what, Abraham Lincoln, nobody had more issues or troubles in their life. I mean, you look at the path and the trajectory that this guy went down, it's just truly amazing. It's incredible that he was ever able to actually get out of bed. He was actually so depressed because of all the things that had happened to him in his life. He spent 6 months in bed depressed. But you know what? Even though he was down, even though he had to stop along his path, he believed in the goal. And he kept moving towards that destination until he got there. Omaha will be there. If you're walking towards Omaha riding in a car, it doesn't matter where you stop off along the way. As long as you keep going towards that destination, it'll be there when you get there. It's the same way with your goals. You set a goal, you keep moving towards that destination, it's going to be there when you get there. You got to believe it. It's going to happen. I guarantee you it works that way for every single person who has belief and faith in their dreams and desires and never takes no for an answer and just keeps moving in the direction of that goal. It will work for you. And I tell you what, the list goes on and on. Do you remember Peter Jennings? Now, we all remember Peter Jennings because he was the top news anchor man for a long time, right? Did you know that Peter Jennings never finished high school? That's right. He didn't have a college degree. He didn't have a degree in doing the job that he did. He didn't even have a high school diploma. But he was an icon, and everybody knows who he was because he was on the news every day